So happy New Year again, right? In case you came in late, right? Any big plans for tonight? Working. Oh, I'm so sorry, Jess. Do we have a bunch of pajama-wearing people celebrating New Year's Eve tonight? Is that what we got going tonight, right? Some people are going to go to bed in 23 and hopefully, by God's grace, wake up in 24, right? Okay. But anyone got any big plans? Woo! Wise guy. All right. Anyone else? If you have big plans, you're probably not here, right? You're probably watching online. So if you're online in the middle of your big plans, just throw it out there for conversation so others can see it. Hey, you know what are things we always do in the end of one year is we like to make predictions for the next year. So I found an interesting article that was about predictions made in 1923 for 2023. Since we're at the end of 2023, I thought it'd be kind of fair to reflect on their predictions and see how things turned out. 10 predictions. Okay, ready? 4-hour workday. You there yet? Anybody? No, boo, right? All right. Wireless war. Think about that. Think about drones and the ability, digital warfare. They weren't too far off on that one. Everyone will be beautiful. That one's true. All right, I'm looking around. I will confirm that one. Life expectancy should be 100 years old. I hope. Actually, average life expectancy in America is around 76, so we missed that mark. Cancer eradicated. Nope. All right, that did not happen. The U.S. population, 330 million, on the nose. They grossly overestimated the amount of people that would want to live in Canada, though, because they thought 100 million is about 40 million in Canada. They forgot how cold it gets in the winter, starting in, July and go. I think their winter goes, July to May, right? Okay. A few more. That you can fly from Chicago to Hamburg, Germany in 18 hours. Actually, we did it in 11, so we beat that. That was a deal I found on Kayak, okay? Watch-size communication devices, baby. Nailed that one, right? Fashion. Men with perms. No way. All right. Women with black teeth. Women, give me a smile, right? Nope. Oh, one. No, wait. No, just kidding. Radio-powered cars replace gasoline. You know what they meant by radio? Electricity. They kind of nailed that. So they were kind of okay. You know, some are on and some are off and preparing for this. So here's the thing. We make predictions because we're afraid of change and the unknown. By nature, we want to be in control. Right? So we want to be prepared for the unexpected, which is an oxymoron, right? You can't be prepared for the unexpected, but we want to be, and so we make these predictions in the hopes of being able to capitalize on opportunity. I'm going to read a passage this morning that 100%, I found this, 100% predicts what will happen in 2024. Guarantee it. And then we're going to look at how to capitalize on that passage by turning to Jesus and the disciples in the midst of a challenging circumstance. But God, as we go into this, I just want to pray that you'd give me power and strength from your Spirit to speak in such a way that other people are blessed by words that don't come from me, but come from you, Father. Use me in this moment in a way that glorifies you. I trust you, Father, to be present. And I love you. Amen. All right, so if you had parents or grandparents that grew up in the 60s, or you like old style rock, you may recognize this. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. Right? I'm not going to sing it. There's a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to uproot, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to tear down, a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones, a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep, a time to throw away, a time to tear down and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. That's a poem written by the son of one of the greatest kings of Israel. His name is Solomon. And he was considered one of the wisest men in the Bible, and this is him reflecting on life, looking for meaning. If you were to take it in the 21st century, it might sound like this in your world. There'll be a time for babies to be born, and a time in 2024 when loved ones will die. In 24, some of us are going to lay down roots, and for others, it's going to be a time to move. In 24, it's going to be time for some of us to leave relationships behind and time to heal them. In 2024, it's going to be time for some of us to quit our jobs or our business. It's going to be time for you to launch your career. In 2024, it's going to be a time to destroy old habits, maybe even good ones inadvertently. It's going to be a time for you to clean up your life. In 2024, it's going to be a time for mourning loss and for celebrating gain. In 2024, it's going to be a time to embrace new relationships and to redefine some old ones. 2024 is going to be a time for us to look for answers and for others to give up and to accept the inevitable. In 2024, it's going to be a time to build your home and fill it, and for others, like my wife, to clear out your home, but we're not moving. Right? I'm the keeper, and she's the thrower-outer. We make a good balance to each other. For some of us in 2024, we'll be making mistakes. And for others, we're going to recover from them. In 2024, to be the year to learn to keep your mouth shut. And for some, it'll be a time to open up and speak out, right? In a year of election, don't you wish we had more candidates who could apply this rule to their lives? In 2024, it's going to be time to build relationships, and for some of us, it'll be time to realize we need to blow up a relationship and move on. In 2024, there will be war, and there'll be peace. You know what Solomon is saying to us? Life is change. The one thing that you can expect with certainty in 2024 is that life will change. The good will come and the bad will flow. Challenges will present themselves and opportunities will open up for us. We live in an ever-changing world. How can you be prepared for that? Because for some of us, those changes will be joyful anticipation. Going to add to our family. For others, it's going to be challenging opportunities. Oh my gosh, we're going to add to our family, right? It's just sometimes how we approach it. So what I want to do is I want to turn and take a look at a scene in the life of Jesus where they faced opportunity and challenge, how Jesus met them in it, and how they responded. Because I don't know what's going to happen in your life in 2024 except it will change. And you're going to have opportunities present themselves, and you're going to have challenges that will burden you. So maybe Jesus can give us a little bit of guidance in trying to prepare for the things we can't control. So this starts, let me give you a little context to this. The day before this scene we're looking at, Jesus has been teaching people by the thousands. We're told 5,000 men, which is an ancient way of counting a population. But their wives and their kids came, and the grandparents all would come, and all these people would be gathered together. Thousands of them came to hear Jesus preach. It was an amazing moment. They faced an under-resourced opportunity because all these people got hungry, and you don't want to be in the center of a crowd of like thousands of people who are hangry. Jesus just took the opportunity to pray over a small lunch, and it multiplied, and it fed thousands of people. It was what we call a mountaintop experience. You've had those exciting opportunities. God does the remarkable. It's just like you're riding on a high, and now we've come to this moment. So Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side. He's talking about this lake, while he dismissed the crowd. After he dismissed them, Jesus went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. So the disciples are alone in a boat, purposely sent in that direction by Jesus. Jesus spent some time with God to just recenter himself in prayer. Later that night, He was there alone, and the boat was already a considerable distance from the land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. So in this section of the world, you would have these unexpected windstorms, and the disciples are caught in the middle of a storm. Jesus sent them in a boat. Things were great, and a storm came. And the first principle to consider is to prepare for the both and. That's what the whole Ecclesiastes passage is meant to teach us, that life is going to be both great opportunities and challenging circumstances. We feel stressed because we expect life to be either or, right? It can be good and I can be happy. It'll be bad and I'm going to be despairing. But life isn't that easy. And it's not that simple. Think of Jesus. Jesus was teaching people by the thousands, and they got hungry. So he prayed and fed them. He sent his disciples out into a boat, and they got caught in a storm, and so he stepped out onto water. Because life is both challenge and opportunity. When we think simplistically, life should be good, then when the challenge comes, what do we face? Confusion, fear, frustration, anger, right? Because we don't expect it to happen. But truly, we should expect that both good and bad should come into our lives. And our expectations then set us up for miracles. Because when we're caught in the either or thinking, life should be either good or bad, we don't look for Christ when it's bad, we only look for him when it's good. We get angry at God when it's bad instead of just looking for God in the midst of the storm. Because we're going to see that in the midst of a storm, Jesus shows up and a miracle happens. But the first thing to do, and we're going to walk into 2024, you need to be prepared that it's going to be good and bad. It's going to have great opportunities and you're going to have significant challenges. Be prepared for that so that when the challenges come, you're not sent spinning or knocked over. We faced this in our own church in the calendar year 2023. We ended the fiscal year June 30. Great. And we're facing one of the greatest financial challenges in my history as lead pastor at this church in the same year. So we celebrate the good that happened. We step out into faith by praying for the challenge set before us. We don't despair. Why does God love us when it was financially good? And why is he angry at us when it's financially difficult? It's life. So be prepared and be ready to respond. And this is the next section, right? So shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake, and when the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." "Lord, if it's you," Peter replied, "tell me to come out to you in the water." And "Come," Jesus said, which I wonder if Peter was like, "Oh, I can't believe he did." He said, "Come," right? And Peter got down out of the boat. So here's the thing. It was an unexpected storm, and Jesus came. He was in the storm. He didn't stay on the shore. Sometimes when the storm strikes, what do we think? God's not involved in my life. God doesn't care about me. He's not listening to my prayers. God doesn't love me. Or I did something wrong and now God is angry at me. The reality is Christ was walking towards the disciples from the shore in the middle of the storm. He was heading towards them, not away from them. He wasn't ignoring them. He was coming to them. Whatever your storm is, Jesus isn't distant. It's not that he stands and he could care less. He's not testing you necessarily. He's walking towards you somehow, some way in the midst of your storm. And I love what Jesus says is, "Take courage, it is I, don't be afraid." Jesus understands. Storms are scary. The unexpected that strikes your life is unnerving. And this statement, "Take courage, it is I, don't be afraid," that's a real interesting verb, take courage. You know that, good thing that a pastor or preacher is a Bible geek, right? Because you got to go back into the original languages to understand the nuance of words, because not every word is the same. And the take courage is a unique word with a slight nuance to it. It means to Take courage. It doesn't mean you have it. It means you receive it. The call is to be bold. And in the Bible, whenever that shows up, oftentimes it's a summons from God in times of stress or emergency with God's readiness to help as the basis. What does that mean? It means that you're in the middle of the storm and Jesus is saying, take courage. Not from yourself, not by your own strengths, not by your own abilities, not by your own wisdom, not from your own resources. Take your courage from me. It's a gift that he's offering to you. He understands the storm is scary, and so Jesus is saying, I know you don't have the courage to rise up to this challenge because it's a supernatural challenge. It's an overwhelming challenge. Anybody who has been too sick to find healing understands that. Anyone who has had unexpected debt collapse on them gets it. Anybody who's been in a job that just went south on them fast knows that. You face these challenges and you feel ill-equipped for them, and so it makes you feel overwhelmed by the circumstances. And Jesus is saying, don't look inside for courage. Look to me. I'm right here with you in the storm. So take your courage from me. Get out of the boat. Because you know what happens when we hit these unexpected storms? Sometimes we freeze. I mean, we don't even get out of bed, never mind get out of the boat. We pull covers over our heads. We fall into deep depression. Sometimes we isolate ourselves from people, right? We hide in our homes. We fall into bad habits. We drink to numb the feelings, right? We take drugs in order to numb and avoid the reality. We don't face the bills. We just keep mounting new credit cards. We find ways to avoid getting out of the boat. We just stay in them. New opportunities present them, but we feel ill-equipped. We don't have the confidence, and we don't want to make the sacrifice. So what do? We don't take them. Right? Ministry opportunities are presented right before you, and you know you could do it, but you may be out of confidence or fear, or you're not sure how you could squeeze out the time or the energy or the resources. You choose not to do anything. What are you doing? You're staying in the boat. Here's what we're going to discover. 11 men stayed in the boat. 1 man learned how to walk on water. Only one. The 11 never experienced the miracle. Because when you get out of the boat is when you discover it's not about you. It's when you realize, I didn't know how we could give that much, and suddenly you end the year with surplus. I didn't know how I was going to make time to serve, and then you find it fits into your life, and the joy you have is better for it. You thought that opportunity that was being presented to you was really scary, and what you discovered was a great new challenge. You feared that losing that relationship was going to leave you empty, and you found room for new relationships. You had to get out of the boat in order to discover the miracle. Basically, what Jesus is saying is, don't be afraid. I'm here to help. You'll be fine. Take a second to think about this. Maybe take a picture. We want to provide opportunities for you to kind of reflect to hear what God is saying. Some great questions for you this week. What's your storm? Are you in one now? What's your storm? How does Christ shown up to meet you? Do you know? We'll address that in a minute. What's the courageous step that you could take? What's the step that Jesus is calling you to take? Think about that this week, especially after we're done with the message. One of the best things you can do doesn't happen in this room, but it's what Christ is speaking to you and you choose to do outside this room. So taking the time to think and to reflect on questions like this is a way of identifying Christ in the midst of the storm. So then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on water toward Jesus. Here's the trick. He kept moving forward, one step at a time. That's what you do in the midst of a great opportunity that seems scary or a challenge you didn't expect. You don't stop. Keep moving forward. Moving forward means a lot of things for people. Moving forward means dealing with your emotions. If you're struggling with depression, fear, or anxiety, and it's choking you, it's stopping you, get therapy. Get together with friends. Learn how to manage the emotions so they don't stop you. Learn to walk through them. If you're confused, get direction. If you're angry, talk to someone to get help. Don't let bad emotions be like a weight that sinks you below the waves. Learn how to pull those emotions out. Talk with people about how to deal with them and move forward. Join our emotionally healthy relationships course that starts in January. Learn how to develop healthy relationships, which is really about managing your emotions so that you can move forward. Because what happens? Somebody leaves us, abandons us, we get divorced, and we stop. Someone dies, and it's like we die. We lose our job, and we just get all caught in fear. Don't let your emotions stop you. Find the way to move forward. Moving forward is a great opportunity to present yourself, right? You get the opportunity, a new job, a new relationship, something that looks great that if you examine it, you find out maybe I should take this opportunity. Move forward. Yeah, but I have to leave the familiar. Yes, you do. The familiar for a fisherman is a boat. The unfamiliar is walking on water. Or maybe it's a new season of life you're entering into. Maybe, you know what, 24 is the year to get engaged. Maybe 24 is the year to get married. Maybe 24 is the year to take a career change. Maybe 24 is the year to retire. If it's the opportunity is being presented to you, consider moving towards the opportunity. Don't let fear or uncertainty or underconfidence hold you back. Maybe it's a challenge you're facing. You know challenges, debt, divorce, disease, death. They all seem to begin with D's, right? All these challenges that come thrown at us. And challenges, sometimes what do you want to do? When they're thrown at us, you want to hide. We want to hide behind a wall. We want to pretend that it's not real. This isn't happening to me. I can't get up and I can't move on. But stepping forward is, I got to keep going. I got to find the way to move forward. Or maybe moving forward is a new ministry opportunity. You've been hearing us. Every single ministry has needs. I believe that when God provides a resource, when God provides, when God tells you what to do, he gives you what you need. That includes people. So if we have ministries that consistently have a lack of volunteers, is one of two things for me. One is, it's the wrong ministry and we should stop it. Or it's the right ministry and people are saying no. Move forward. Get engaged. Maybe it's the time for you to really consider getting involved in a generous way of supporting us. What's the movement that Christ is calling you to take in uncertain times? I can't give any more. Do you know what the finances of the world are like? Keep moving forward. I can't give any more. Do you know how busy my life is? Keep moving forward. I don't want to know if I should take that opportunity because I feel pretty safe and secure here. Keep moving forward. Yeah, but you don't understand the challenges that I'm facing, how difficult they are. Keep moving forward. Because you know what happens when you stop moving? You take your eyes off of Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink. Interesting, because he knew there was a storm when he got out of the boat. The storm didn't start while Peter was walking. Peter chose to walk while the storm was happening. And he just allowed the circumstances of his life to distract him from Jesus. And the minute he got distracted from Christ in the middle of the storm, he started to sink. Life is hard. You stop going to church. You get too busy. You leave off the Bible, right? Faith group is just another thing on my schedule. Do ministry, you got to be kidding me. All these things happen in our lives, and we just get distracted from Christ because of the circumstances of our lives. I'm too sick. I'm too busy. I'm too tired. I've got too many other responsibilities, and we distract from Jesus, and we look at the world and we're like, what a scary world. You can't take courage from Jesus if you're not looking at him. So we talk about this all the time. Do you know the name of the team that designed Sunday morning worship? Encounter Christ in Worship. We gave names to our teams with verbs so that we understood there was action involved. And what our team truly believes is that Jesus Christ is present here every Sunday morning. Will you choose to encounter him? You can't recognize Jesus if you're not looking for him. When you walk in, you're thinking about the world, the argument in the car, what it took for you to get here, what's going to happen tomorrow when you go back to work, the email that's been catching up, the schoolwork that you got to do, the struggles you're having with your friends. They're not texting you back, and you get lost in all this stuff, and next thing you know, the service is over. You let the storm of life distract you from Jesus. I get this new opportunity. I need to take it. Which school should I go to? Oh, my goodness. Is this the right relationship? All this distracts you. Instead of staying focused on Christ for an hour, you miss him. And then you walk away, and it's been another week without thinking of Jesus. Or maybe it's a daily walk with Christ. If you're only feeding yourself spiritually Sunday to Sunday, it's like having one big meal a week. You can't survive on that. That's like if you're married or you have a great relationship, you only touch base once a week. Now, you may feel with all your kids, that's all you're capable of doing, right? But the point is that to build a relationship, it takes time. And now's the time. Every single Bible app is talking about read the Bible in a year, restart your devotional life, get into reading. You could download the Bible app, and you know what I do before I get out of bed? It has a daily verse. So first thing I do before I get out of the bed in the morning, as I open up the Bible app, I read the daily verse, which ironically came out of Ecclesiastes this morning. Then a person gives you a little 2-minute teaching. They give you a couple of reflection questions, a little devotional thought, some opportunity to reflect on it. Then I get out of bed and I move on. It's not my only indulgence in the Bible in the course of a day, but it takes me like 5 minutes in a semi-conscious state, sometimes 3, to just start with Jesus before I get out of bed. I know people on their commute have listened through the Bible multiple times. People on podcasts who are growing to understand the Bible. People who go to the Bible Project, people who read books about the Bible, people who just decide to get to know about the God in Scriptures who knows me. How are you going to recognize him otherwise? Or maybe it's time to get engaged with your faith group again, for other people to speak into your life and say, hey, so you can go and you could say, I think I got this great opportunity, but I don't know if I should take it. And suddenly you get the wisdom of other people praying for you and speaking into your life. The elders of our church, we have a text group. When we're facing challenges or opportunities, we throw out prayer requests. I did it this past week. Myself and another elder, we were facing challenges that we didn't expect, so we threw it out and we said, pray for us. And they supported us, and they prayed for us. If the elders of the church believe we need this, how much more so you? You know, the elders went through emotionally healthy spirituality and emotionally healthy relationships because they wanted to experience the same wisdom we're asking you to do. Maybe it's time for you to serve or to bump up your serving, to get involved, to give the church feet and hands and face and voice. Maybe it's time to face the wall. You know what the wall is? It's an emotionally healthy spirituality talks about. It's an ancient concept. You're coming to a place in your life where your faith feels dry, when the old tools and techniques and approaches aren't working, or when you're facing something really hard and it's causing you to doubt God. And what we do is we tend to pull away then, when what we need to do is lean in and push forward to get spiritual guidance from people like Pastor Laurel or one of the other pastors, or in your faith group to begin talking about, I am facing a dry and difficult season of life with Christ. Okay, every mature believer that I respect has faced the wall multiple times. You get through it if you take courage from Jesus and don't back down. And last, reach out for help when you're drowning. Peter cried out, Lord, save me. Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. You have little faith, he said. Why did you doubt? And when they climbed in the boat, the wind died down. You know what Jesus is saying? I love little faith is like a little pet name in Matthew's gospel. I think Jesus is saying, Peter, you looked away, didn't you? You know what he didn't say? Peter, you're a fisherman, swim. No, you know what he didn't do? He didn't say, your fault, and walk away. All right? He didn't stand there and go, Peter, what's happening? Tell me what's going on. You need to get straightened up now. He didn't say any of those things. He looked at Peter and he's like, you took your eyes off me, dude. Why did you do that? You can't walk on water without me. We feel guilt, shame, and fear. When we sin, we hurt people, we feel guilt and we avoid Jesus. We feel shame because we strayed away. Or we feel fear because the circumstances seem overwhelming to us. And so we avoid Jesus in the midst of these storms, when in reality, Jesus wants to offer you forgiveness, love, and strength. So instead of running from the one who gives you courage, instead of running from the one who will forgive you, instead of running from the one who offers love, instead of running from the one who wants to give you strength, just reach out. Because Jesus will receive you even when you're drowning. He lifts you out of the water. It's a beautiful thing because then miracles happen. This is how the story ends. And those who are in the boat worshiped him, saying, truly you are the Son of God. Your most profound experiences of Jesus Christ often come in unexpected storms. I promise you that. But you got to keep moving forward. 2024 will bring change into your life. So how will you face it? We want to give you an opportunity to reflect on this. These are the points from the story of Jesus and the boys in the boat and from Peter. We want to give you an opportunity to just kind of sit with Jesus for a minute. And why don't you just ask, of the 5 points in today's message, which one did you feel that prick of conscience where Jesus was kind of saying, hey, listen up. It's about you, man. Think about that.